Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. We're going to do an unbagging today of C3i issue number 27. This is, this says 2013. I actually thought it was older than that. This is about 5 or 6 issues old. I was a late arrival to C3i. I think my first issue was actually the one right after this. I think that was the Churchill issue. This is obviously based on the cover, the Fire in the Lake issue. It also contains the game Soviet Dawn, which is a States of Siege game. So let's take her out of the bag and see what we get. Obviously, I got this from a third party, and it was not particularly cheap. Out-of-print issues of C3i are relatively collectible. So let's look first at the magazine. So, all right, end of year releases. This looks like it was, it's RBM Studios, and I'm not sure if it's always been, but it feels like it, but there's definitely some GMT stuff here. We have some GMT releases from the end of 2013 in this little one-page ad. Apparently there's a feedback card. There's a feedback card, okay. Interesting. This is a Civil War article by Mark McLaughlin, who was the designer of Army of the Potomac and Army of the Tennessee. I actually owned these at one point. They were from 3W, I believe. Atrocious quality mounted boards in those things. But the game itself was basically a similar game system to War and Peace, McLaughlin's War and Peace. So it was actually a game that played okay, to the best of my recollection. So here's also a picture of a book by James McPherson, who is, of course, the author of Battle Cry of Freedom, which is a very good book, a good one-volume history of the American Civil War. And then we have some stuff on Rebel Raiders of the High Seas, which is something that I see get played quite a bit, but I have never personally played it. We keep going into that with some optional rules for Rebel Raiders of the High Seas, and I think that's still available, actually. Okay, we have a C3i Player by Mark Buto. This looks like some kind of player, just individual player article, I guess. Okay. Here's a game designer roundtable with Mark Herman and Volko Runke on Fire in the Lake, looks like. Yep. Which I have and haven't played yet. There's actually talk of getting that played soon, so stay tuned for that if it occurs. So we'll see. Here's some stuff from Jeff Grossman on Cuba Libre. Which is a coin game that I don't own. I'm told it's a good introductory coin game, however. Here is Mark Herman's Cleo's Corner column. This one looks like it's on Fog of War. These are always, this is like non-game specific designer's notes from Mark Herman. These are always really interesting to read. Here's some stuff from Mitchell Land on Next War Korea, which is something I picked up, the new printing, of course, not all that recently, but not all that long ago either, so I'll be curious to look through these. It's like this is another scenario. Yep. Here is a interview with Jack Green, who is a designer of some note. He's got, I don't think I've ever played anything of his. I've never played anything that's listed here. I will say that this Iron Bottom Sound cover is my absolute all-time favorite war game cover. It's a great cover. More interviews with Jack, including some pictures. Many quite old. Here is a No Retreat article. Ooh, C3i Crete bonus module from Carl Parody for the North African Front. Well, I guess we'll see in the add-ons here. See what that's all about. Okay. Here's an Empire of the Sun, Japanese strategy against the Big Three article. This will be interesting to read. And as you can see, this is quite a heavy-duty article as well. That's something that I really like about C3i is the articles are not puff piece articles. They're really substantive articles. Taking down the arsenal of democracy. We're still in that article. Okay. Bloody April. Now, this is the GMT Bloody April, which is a World War I operational air game. Which I've learned is part of the same family as Downtown and Red Storm and various other things. And I'd like to pick up a copy, but it's not super duper easy to get for a super cheap price. And here is an article by Darren Leveloff, who's the designer of the Soviet Dawn game that's in the magazine, about the Bolshevik Revolution. This is a topic of interest to me. I actually took my college thesis was actually on the Soviet Union. So, without getting too specific about what it was about. Here's an article on Reds, which is a game that I have and have played, and it's quite a good game. And here's our annual, or however often these come out, dose of the great battles of history. Looks like this one is for SPQR Deluxe. And it's Romans versus Carthaginians is what it sounds like. And then somewhere in here we should have a... I don't see the counter. Oh, here it is. Here's the counter manifest. It's usually helpful to have that handy. All right, so let's see what else we have here in the C3i number 27. Here is the aforementioned customer response card. It would be hilarious to send this in now. I, of course, will not be getting rid of this at any time. Here is the rulebook for the Soviet Dawn game. Now, as I mentioned, this is a game in the States of Siege series. It's a solitaire game. That is a series of solitaire games on a variety of topics that's quite well regarded. This very much looks like a C3i production, and it looks like it's 16 pages. It's 12 pages, and I don't know if this one appeared on its own from Victory Point Games or not. And I'm also unclear as to the current status of the States of Siege series now that Victory Point Games is under new ownership. Some of those games, a couple of those games appear to be getting redone by the new owners, but I'd be pretty surprised if they all did. So we got that. I'll do the counter sheet last. So next, we have the cards for Soviet Dawn. We have one, and they're nice. They're nice glossy. You got to punch them out of the sheets. 2, 3, 4 sheets of 12 cards, so 48 sheets. We have a map, which is a half-size map, so it's 11 by 18, something like that. That is a nonsensical size. So it's a half-size, standard-size map. And nice, clean, easy to read. More so than I was expecting, actually. For some reason, I expected it to be a difficult map to parse, and now that I look at it in person, that is absolutely not the case. It is not implausible that you may see content on this game on the channel. So if you'd like to see that, please mention it in the comments. All right, so we have some stuff for Combat Commander, new scenarios, 117, 118, 119, 120. A lot of these magazines did come with Combat Commander scenarios. I don't do Combat Commander, so I don't have any use for this, but I definitely do Great Battles of History. And that's what we have here. So that's cool. Oh, look at this. An advanced sequence of play cards and collapsed sequence of play cards for Next War Korea. And another player aid card. Don't know if those are necessary now that I have the new edition. All right, so here is an Iron and Oak scenario, bonus scenario pack. Interesting, which has these map segments on it, which I think you lay out on the Iron and Oak map. That's cool. I don't do Iron and Oak either, nor do I do Panzer. And I know that a lot of C3i magazines come with Panzer stuff too. So it may be that we will do something with those. And then we have here Rebel Raiders on the High Seas, which is, like I said, another game I don't have. So let's look at the counter sheet. So it totally looks like, offhand, we have some stuff up here for Soviet Dawn. Well, some stuff up here for Soviet Dawn. We have some stuff here for Rebel Raiders. Here's our Empire of the Sun and SPQR stuff. Here's our Bloody April stuff. More Great Battles of History. Here's stuff for Iron and Oak. Route markers for Devil's Horsemen. I could swear these have appeared more than once. Here's stuff for Flying Colors. I could swear this stuff has appeared more than once as well, but I could be mistaken. Here's stuff for No Retreat Africa, or North Africa, for Cuba Libre. Here's more stuff for Rebel Raiders from Utah and Guilford. Oriskany, which sounds like it's one of the great Battles of the American Revolution games. And then here's Our Bloody April, More Plains. And then here's some stuff for Roads to Moscow. That's interesting. I didn't know that'd be in there. I have and enormously like Roads to Moscow, so it's cool that that's there. I will have to go through the counter manifest and determine what needs to be punched out of this and what doesn't. But in the meantime, I wish I could recommend that you run out and pick this up, but it is going to be specialized based on your own tastes and needs as to whether you want to run this down for somewhere between $50 and $100. Out of print issues, like I said, of C3i go for decent change. So I wanted this one specifically. This is one of the rare ones when I actually wanted it for the game inside more than for the rest of the contents. Very often I want it for the rest of the contents instead, because it's all games that I do and like and own and plan to play. That's a couple of these. There's a couple of those in here, but for the most part, it's games I don't have. I do have Next War Korea. I do have Firing the Lake, and I do have Empire of the Sun, which is not on the cover, but there's a huge article in there about it. So this has been C3i issue number 27 that I bought secondhand. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up. Please like and subscribe, and hit the little bell notification if you would like to see notifications when new content comes out. And if you don't mind, you can click on the link in the video description for the Patreon page. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy wargaming.